guys, what's up? My name is Jimena, and today we're going to be talking about the updated news around the Paris Climate Agreement. But before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know to remember to check out our podcast called Talk Climate Change to Me, out every other Thursday. And then, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. But anyways, I need to start talking about this. Before we start talking about the updated news of the Paris Climate Agreement, I just want to remind you guys that the Paris Climate Agreement is the most signed environmental document ever in history that pretty much every single country on the planet has signed. Some countries have signed it and not ratified it, and I do have a list of that for you. So it includes Angola, Eritrea, Iran, Iraq, Kyrgyzstan, I'm sorry. That one. Lebanon, Libya, South Sudan, Turkey, and Yemen. They have all signed it, but not ratified it. So it's a pretty big deal, this agreement. And so, a little bit of background context behind it. So technically, the Paris Climate Agreement is not, it's not legally binding. So technically, whatever steps that these countries are saying that they're going to take, they're not legally responsible for meeting those goals. And so a lot of them are actually not meeting their goals at all. And so the reason that it's such a big deal that President Trump is trying to get us out of the Paris Climate Agreement is because it's not legally binding. He can literally keep doing every single thing that he's doing right now, and it's not legally binding. It's not like the UN is going to come and fine Trump or anything. Like, there is no legal basis around it, which honestly is an arguable fact because it genuinely should be. But then, how do you determine who's going to be the one to enforce it and all of that stuff? So honestly, that's also another reason why they made it non-legally binding, because they felt that if they did make it legally binding, a lot of countries wouldn't sign it because they're not doing enough. And this is a global consensus. The best metaphor I can think of is, imagine it as you trying to lose weight. So there's two types of people when you come into trying to lose weight. There's a person that is they may get a rough start or whatever, but once they get into it, they will go the distance and they will start eating healthy, start working out every day, start living a better lifestyle. And that's countries like Switzerland, where they have, was it Switzerland, that they literally were doing so great that they were importing trash because they're making energy from their trash or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm saying the wrong country, but I remember a country that was importing trash. And then there's other people that go into working out and then they're not motivated. They're half-ass forcing themselves to do it. They maybe go to the gym once or twice a week, or even if they do get themselves to go to the gym, they're still eating bad, even if they're doing their exercises, or there's two types of people when it comes to working out, and there's two types of countries that care about the environment. There's the ones that are going to the gym and not eating well, and there's the ones that, actually, I guess there's three. There's the half-ass in the middle ones. There's the ones that are doing absolutely nothing. And then there's the ones that are doing everything that they possibly can, but these countries are smaller, less populated. There's a lot of factors around the way that they're approaching things, which doesn't mean that a bigger country can't do it. It's just harder, and you really need to take the initiative and take the step, which the US can do if we have a good leader to help us get there. And so this brings me back to this quote that I want to read you, or I guess I don't have the full quote on here, but I'm just going to read this word for word. It was from the Twitter news thing. So it says, in a statement, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that the U.S. will remain committed to reducing greenhouse gases, adding that the country will continue to offer a pragmatic and realistic model. Okay. So, and this is really hard for me to do, but let's say I'm giving the Trump administration the benefit of the doubt in this situation. Let's just hypothesize that that's what I'm doing. Him saying, because like, all in all, the fact that this isn't legally binding and that he literally doesn't have to abide by this, and he's literally making all of this drama to just, it's a metaphorical middle finger to the movement of like trying to switch to a greener economy. It's literally a middle finger. That's all that this is, because it's a publicity stunt. He could do absolutely nothing. China and India both have goals that they are nowhere near meeting. Canada, which is one of the most progressive, like, first world countries in their initiatives to push for a greener future. But obviously, like, we know Justin Trudeau is still trying to build that pipeline, which we're not going to get into. But him building that pipeline, they're still supposedly like doing more, again, supposedly doing more green things than the US, because they're still in the Paris Climate Agreement and they're still trying to reduce their carbon footprint as much as possible. Sorry. They're still trying to reduce their carbon footprint as much as possible. So, sorry, let me just circle back to, this is literally a big middle finger to every other country that is involved in this. And the reason that it's more important from the US is because the US is the reason that a lot of other countries signed on to this. And so, again, giving Trump the benefit of the doubt, like, assuming that he did care about anybody that isn't white, and our quality of air, land, and water, because as we know, he's rolling back the Clean Air Act, he's rolling back the Clean Water Plan. There's a lot of examples that I'm not going to list all of them, but you can definitely look it up. I definitely have more videos on all of the things that he's deregulated in the pursuit of the dollar. But again, giving him the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't think that the Paris Agreement does enough. Let's say he's doing this whole middle finger saying, you know what, we're going to do better than the climate agreement because we care about the integrity and like the integrity of the land, the quality of our air, land, and water. Let's say that that's true. If he started implementing a lot more green technology as he's flipping off the Paris Agreement, then that is proving that, okay, you didn't agree with it because it wasn't strong enough, and you took the initiative to create a green economy, and now the US is thriving, we're not in wars anymore, and Flint has clean water, because hello, what year is it? And Flint doesn't have clean water, and yet you're over here about to get out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Again, a big middle finger to the whole world. And Flint doesn't even have clean water. Like, you're saying that our land is fine, our air is fine. Like, how do you justify rolling back the Clean Air Act? How do you justify lowering the energy efficiency standards and the fuel regulations for cars and say that you care about the environment? Like, those two things don't go together, and that's why it's so hard to give him the benefit of the doubt, because let's say it was Bernie that did this and was like doing all this like middle finger to the Paris Climate Agreement, but then he did a lot of stuff to combat it, like literally like night and day switch over everything. That would be a different story. But clearly the quality of life is going to start to decline significantly unless we can get a president that actually cares about the environment. And honestly, right now, and this is actually coming from a bias, I will warn you before I say it, but honestly, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are our only good options. I prefer Bernie Sanders. That's just a side tangent. This is about the Paris Climate Agreement, and let's just get back on track to that. But it's just insanely ridiculous that if we truly did want a better future, we basically have the absolute roadmap to do it. Obviously, there's other details that need to be worked out. We have to approach this from a bottom-up approach, which means we have to reach out to the community and see the best ways that we can build up this better future. But ideally, we know the technology that we need to develop, and we know like the other things that we need to do. But then you have all the billionaires of the US that made their wealth off of the coal and oil industry, who are pushing back and paying off politicians in order to keep their standards low, because they don't want to spend more money and they don't want to go out of business, because they know that once green technology comes in, they're done for. And it's like that's why Bernie wants to take money out of politics, because that's where we're stuck. Because if honestly, I don't understand why they don't try to invest in it themselves and get to the market. Like, if they're going to act greedy, then be greedy and smart. Like, start investing in newer, greener technology, and then you'll be at the top when all of it transitions. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know if they are, because I don't keep up with, like, everything that billionaires do. But obviously, if they're so, like, if they're clutching so hard on coal and oil, they're clearly not invested in the future. And so that is my rant before I make this like 20 minutes long. But I just wanted to really like get my thoughts out, because I don't know what you guys' opinions are on the stuff that's been happening, or if you've even been keeping up with it. But all in all, Trump is trying to get out of the Paris Climate Agreement, and what we want a president to put the climate first, put science first, give the Scientific Integrity Act. If you guys haven't seen my video on that, you should check it out. But we need scientific integrity in laws. We need the people who research and study and know a lot about science to be in the room helping create these laws. Because otherwise, it's just people that are getting money from coal and oil that are making all these decisions about coal and oil. Like, doesn't that sound kind of sketch? Doesn't that sound like a conflict of interest? It does, huh? There was a point I was trying to say. So technically, you can't drop out of the Paris Climate Agreement until 3 years after it's been initiated, which he just did. And then it takes a full year before you're actually out of the Paris Climate Agreement. And so even if, like, we do get a Democratic president, they're not going to start until January. And so technically, he can still pull out of it before he gets out of office. It's just more of a matter of, are we as a country ready to sign back onto it and agree to improve the quality of our air, land, and water and all of that stuff. That's all. That's that on that. But anyways, I don't want to make this video any longer, because I just want to get it up. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on this, and let me know if you like when I just ramble to the camera, or if you just prefer me to have collected thoughts, because I struggle between the two, because for some videos I always want to have a structure, but for some of them like this, it's just all emotion and knowledge at the same time, if that makes sense. And so I don't know, let me know your thoughts if you care. Leave a comment down below, and yeah, give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and if you learned something, or just give it a thumbs up if you got to this part, honestly. And subscribe if you're not already. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this in some way. Don't forget to hug a tree, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.